Wednesday afternoon and evening, everybody. It's time for episode number 102 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. I'm over here in South Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia, where it's been a beautiful 78-degree day. And joining me from the other side of the country, my good friend, the president of the International Pop Overthrow Festival, Mr. David Bash. David, how the heck are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine, Mark. I'm doing fine now without you, baby. New York City. That was a Stump the Bash question,
That was it. Yes, it
which I
was.
think I got either 4 or 5 points on.
Yes, you did.
Great Tom Bell production. I'm doing fine now by New York City from 1973. But anyway, yeah, all good. Getting very excited. In a little more than 2 weeks, we head out to Liverpool.
Nice.
Can't wait. Things are happening. The IPO Liverpool T-shirts have been designed. I will unveil them tomorrow on Facebook. We're going to have them in both black and gray.
Nice.
Gray will match the program cover, and black because we always do black shirts, and this design really pops out on the black. So it's pretty exciting. I mean,
now, do you print those locally, or do you print them locally and mail them over there, or do you print them over there?
No, we print them over there. We have a company called Impressions Screen Printing, aka Easy Tees. They're located in Liverpool.
Nice.
And they end up they deliver them to the Beatles shop.
Oh, nice.
And then people from the Cavern go to the Beatles shop and bring them up the street. So want to thank, of course, Stephen and Anne-Marie from the Beatles shop for always doing us a solid by letting us have things delivered there. We've had the programs delivered there before, but I believe they'll be delivered straight to the Cavern.
And that's very cool.
I mean, it doesn't mean, again, it's about, I don't know, a couple 100 feet away. Hey, Andy, how are you?
Andy, evening.
So that's a good thing. The IPO CD is moving along quite nicely. We're up to about 54 tracks, which is not bad, especially since about a week ago we were at 42. But they've been coming in. And hey, Barry.
Hoodoo Gurus. Yeah, Hoodoo's Gurus. Who knew? Who knew? Hey, Barry. We know what you mean.
Yeah, I would love to see them, but they haven't come out this way, or at least not when I've been around.
Here's a question for you, though, my friend. I know, just looking at the wall behind you, you love your box sets. At what point in your career do you do an IPO box set?
Steve Stanley and I have talked about it, and it's certainly something that's a possibility. I don't know. I mean, we've been talking about doing a vinyl release, which would be massively expensive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people would have to be willing to pay out, at least our cost plus shipping. I mean, it's nothing that I would care about making money on, but I couldn't afford to lose money either. So we'd have to price it out and, just see if it's viable. But we have wanted to do something vinyl.
What number volume is this coming up?
It's number 24.
24.
Like I said, we have 54 tracks, so we probably have room for no more than 14 more, maybe even less. And the deadline, this would cost more, I would think. I'm sure we'll be full pretty soon. So if you're listening and you've been sort of vacillating about whether or not to do a track, I would say that if you're thinking about it, just commit now. I don't need the materials until our deadline, which is June 16th. But if you're going to, I'll ask artists if they do commit to it early, just don't back out. I'm not an airline. I don't like overselling things in case people don't show up. So I just want to know that if somebody says they're in, that they're really in. And yeah, we've gotten some really cool tracks, some really cool artists. I don't really want to say at this point who they all are, but I'll mention a couple along the way because I've got some stuff to talk about, some recent releases, including some from people who will have a track on the CD. All good with that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what else to say other than everything is on target, and we just can't wait to get there.
Yeah, it's coming up, man. Big
coming
deal.
up. Watch check.
Uh-oh.
I've got my. Of course, I have. Is this upside down? Yes, it is. I've got my 60th anniversary Accutron Space View, which has not been getting the love that some of my other watches have. And I know it's kind of an unusual design with the skeleton and all of the gears kind of out there for people to see. And a lot of people aren't used to that. But the history behind this watch is so impressive. I mean, Accutron, made the first electronic movement with the hum. Mm-hmm. And they're still doing that with this 60th anniversary release. Only this is known as an electrostatic movement, which builds up energy and stores it. It's a very interesting process. And I also picked up this book, which is about the history of the Accutron Space View.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
The one I have, but all kinds of great ads and pictures and all kinds and. Just reading about the history of this watch is really something.
Wow.
And so I wear it quite a bit, and it's just great to have a piece of horological history.
How about T-shirt check? I got Sunset Ballroom, Carrolltown, Pennsylvania, 1911-1967. Very cool design.
Wow. Now, who are the most famous people who played there?
I have no idea.
The design is nice.
I don't even know where Carrolltown is. I think it's near Pittsburgh.
Really?
Correct me, anybody, if I'm wrong.
No, that is a cool design, though. I agree.
It's very, very 60s.
Very sunsetty.
Very sunsetty. And you got your Summer of Love.
Summer of Love Haight Ashbury shirt. Very hippy dippy. I was actually wearing this shirt yesterday when I went to the supermarket. I was wearing this hat and this shirt. And I'm standing in line ready to pay for my groceries. And the guy behind me says, "Hey, are you in one of those rock and roll bands?" And I said, "No, but I do organize a festival." And he said, "I knew it. I knew you had something to do with music." And the cashier's asked me which festival. And I knew she would wind up not having any interest in this kind of music, but I told her, and it was just kind of fun because normally I don't get that, but I guess this shirt screams out, the Summer of Love and the music that went along with it. Very interesting for somebody who's never even sampled a drug in his life, but meaning me,
Gary.
not the guy in line. I think he's had a few.
Hey, Gary.
So that was kind of fun.
Yeah, President Lincoln to you. Okay.
Do you mean? Wait a minute, Andy. Do you mean the band, the President Lincoln, or do you mean the actual Abraham Lincoln? No, we had a band called the President Lincoln play IPO last year, and they were really good.
Cool.
I'm gonna guess Andy's talking about them.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward to seeing Andy and Searching for Sylvia at IPO Liverpool.
Nice.
Right, the band, yeah.
And it'll be at the Cavern and the Cavern Pub, right?
Cavern and the Cavern Pub. Just like last year, we're only using the backstage, not the front Beatles stage. And I remember when we got that news last year, I was really bummed and even a bit trepidatious, but it ended up working so well. I mean, for the first time ever, I got to see all. They were great. Lincoln band a shot. Damn.
I don't know if that was Borak, but boy, he just got you on that one.
I think that one needs a Booth review. Get it? Booth, John. Anyway, it was great to be able to see the full sets of every band, something I had never been able to do prior.
That question.
It was great to have my laptop there. It made it easy to type commentary for all the videos I was posting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was nice. I'm glad we're just using one stage. Mark's still laughing at that.
I am. It was pretty darn good.
No,
It was pretty good.
it's
It was
John
pretty
Borak.
quick.
John Borak, like the ladies say, John Borak's very quick.
Yeah. And it devolves. There we
Well, of
go.
course, it's going to devolve.
We are Devo.
Yesterday I posted something on Facebook, a joke that it seemed maybe only about half of the people got. The first time I saw somebody post something with the acronym AI,
Mm-hmm.
my first thought was, who the hell is Al? And then I understood immediately after. But I never forgot the similarity to AI and Al. And the truth is, whether or not you type a capital I or an L, it comes out virtually the same. If there's anything different, it's not something that can be picked up visually. I mean, maybe the L is like I don't know, a quint. I'm trying to think of how you would say a millionth of a meter smaller, but
Yeah.
But anyway, so I posted something with a picture of Al Jardine,
Mm-hmm.
saying this photo is Al generated, playing off of the AI thing. Of course, a lot of people didn't get it. They actually thought it was an AI photo, and they're saying, "Well, the hands don't look right," or something. It's like, well, they should, because this is a real photo. They clearly weren't getting the joke.
As far as you know, it's a real photo. I
Well,
saw it though.
wouldn't the joke be on me if it had
Yeah,
been
if it
AI
wasn't
generated? But I don't think so. Anyway, it was just kind of funny that people didn't get that. But then somebody brought up the question: what do you think? What do you think of all the AI generated songs that people have been posting? I don't know how many you've seen. I've seen quite a few on the Beach Boys.
Yeah.
I saw. What did I just see recently? What was it that McCartney was singing?
Well, they had a McCartney Lennon doing Beach Boys "God Only Knows," I believe.
I didn't see that one, but it was something from the. It might have been another solo Beatles song with with Paul singing instead of the actual vocalist. I don't recall. Anyway, when I first heard the Beach Boys, I think it was a few where Brian Wilson sang instead of Mike Love. When I first heard those, I thought, well, this is really cool. But actually, probably within about 2 or 3 more of those examples, I was starting to think this is really hokey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I mean, I know it's easy to say, when you've been provided the information beforehand, but you can kind of tell.
Yeah.
Something was not right about that McCartney voice. I wish I remembered which song it was, but something was just not quite there about it.
It's still pretty bizarre. It's wild and bizarre that can even be made the way it is. And I don't know if you've seen. There's some guy out there on TikTok, I believe, or something, that does Elvis stuff, and I don't know how he does it. Like McCartney singing Oasis, "This Must Stop." I don't know how he does it.
This wasn't an Oasis track.
But he's like dressed like Elvis, and he moves around, but his face is somehow replaced perfectly with Elvis's face. So everything he does, it looks like it's Elvis doing it. So then he'll take an Elvis track that no videos ever existed, like a deep track or something, and he can stand there and sing, and it's as if Elvis is doing this stuff. It's so well done.
It's really that good.
It's really that good. I wish I could remember what his name is, but he's a young guy that kind of looks like Elvis, but when Elvis's features are layered over his.
No, I'm going to guess this is John Borak. Really, somebody bothered to do a Merrymakers track?
Yeah, I saw David Murr was commenting on that, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
I haven't seen it though.
David didn't do it though.
No. Yeah, he was commenting on it, I believe. I don't know, unless we are all AI right now. We don't know it.
Yeah,
Could be. But
but
what's that? You talked about it. What's that? Is it HBO show? What's the something in the six?
oh, Daisy Jones and the Six.
Daisy Jones in the six.
Uh-huh.
I was talking with Frank Sessich last night, and I
Right.
didn't know that Blue Ash Jazel Jane was in the first episode
Really, he only
of that.
posted it about 7,000 times.
I just didn't.
Sorry,
I just
Frank.
didn't. I just didn't catch it. I didn't catch it, and I was like, "Wait, I go back and look at and damn if it isn't there." But I was talking because I was watching. I just pulled this out, the night clubbing DVD, which came out on Record Store Day, the previous Record Store Day to the
Really, what
last
is
one.
that? I'm not familiar
It
with it.
is a documentary on Max's Kansas City,
Oh,
and it's absolutely phenomenal. I think it's Danny Garcia, the same one that did the Brian Jones documentary and whatnot. But the Deadbeat Poets on Pop Detective have a track in here. But it's a great documentary if you haven't seen it yet. It's called Night Clubbing. I believe this was Record Store Day release because it's got the soundtrack CD. It's a special, but I think the actual DVD, and I believe it might be on Netflix now. So if you
I'll
want to
have to
see it,
check that out.
if
Yeah.
you're not familiar with how great Max's Kansas City was, because everybody always talked about CBGBs, but Max's Kansas City was sure
I'm
important.
I'm still I'm still so often kicking myself for Fern Perdon. Yeah. I'm still so often kicking myself for not going to those clubs when I had the opportunity to do so. I was a student at NYU. If so, the village was in my backyard. I mean,
Yeah.
CBGB's, Max's, all those places were within walking distance. Um, and I've never went to any of them. My attitude at that time was any extra money I had would go to records exclusively. And I would say, what do I don't need to see the bands live. I can hear them on their album and it's going to sound better anyway. Ironic given what I'm doing now, but
Right.
I never really had the desire to go.
Uh,
And for that reason, I saw relatively few shows, even in bigger venues. I mean, I did see a handful of bands for sure, but God, I could have gone to CBGBs, I could have gone to Max, I could have gone to all these places and seen some of the coolest bands, and
yeah.
probably back then for like $3 or $5. But $5 would get you 2 promos.
Yeah.
There was a place called Vinyl Mania on right off of 6th Avenue, I think Carmine and 6th, that would get promos of LPs that hadn't come out yet, and they'd be like $2.50, and some of them would have timing strips, and they'd have white labels, and it's like, do I want to pay $5 to see a band, or do I want to get 2 albums that are going to be great for the
Mhm.
same price? So it
Yeah.
was at that point it was a no-brainer.
Right.
But now
Okay.
now I'm the one who had no brains by doing that one time.
I can see
So
it
I
though.
need to
Yeah.
see that documentary for
Yeah,
sure.
it's really, really good. There's a few, and I don't know why, and I haven't really talked to Danny about it at all, but there's a few bands from Max's Kansas City that were very big at Max's, but they weren't really featured in this documentary at all. And they cover a lot of the bands that played there. But like, I know Paul Zone of the Fast, and they were big Max's band, and
Right.
they're barely even mentioned in the documentary or seen. There's a couple scenes where you see them backing up Wayne, Jane County.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know who that was.
But yeah, so there's a few things like that. For whatever reason, it may just have been licensing or permissions or whatever. I don't know. But
That's usually the case when
it's
something
a
that you
great
expect to be
documentary,
there is
and
missing.
and
Yeah. No, hopefully Netflix does have it. I'll check it out, and obviously if I
and
like it, I'll buy it.
and Frank's been going down a tough physical road the last couple months too. He had a kidney stone as well, and
Yeah.
he's had some heart issues. He's bouncing back nicely, but his first book that he put out did so well that they signed him for like a 3 more book deal, and the second book is very close to being published. And
What's it covering?
it's just going to be covering more stories from the day.
Wow.
Yeah, more. He's got
That
tons.
many, huh? Wow.
He's got tons of stories.
Apparently.
And yeah, it's going to be another really cool Sessage book on the whole time in Blue Ash and Stiv and everything. all the way up to the present. So, and then they signed for 2 more books after that, I believe.
That's great.
Which is awesome.
Really glad to hear about that.
So he's doing well. It was nice talking to him last night, and get the 411 on new things coming out for him. So hopefully I see him this. He's going to hop a train and come visit me this August.
No,
once we both get healthy. We're getting there. We're getting there. One operation at a time.
Yeah, right. No, I'm glad to hear that. Let's see what else is going on. Well, I could talk about a few releases here that have come out. Let me see.
Record. You're talking music, okay?
Music, yeah, not books. The 4 CDs I'm talking about here feature artists who will have a track on this year's IPO compilation, although
nice.
Those tracks aren't necessarily on the discs I'll be featuring. The first one is by an old friend of many of us, and certainly a member of one of the most outstanding power pop bands of the last 25 years. I think anybody watching would agree. The band, of course, is Starbelly. Well, not of course, but the band is Starbelly.
Obviously.
And this is one of the main men of the band, Dennis Shockett. And he's got a new CD called Weather Vane. And the guy's such a wonderful singer-songwriter on every level. I mean, he can write a tender ballad and pull it off. He can pull off a power pop song. He has a lot of friends on this album, including members of Starbelly, and so it's got kind of a full band sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is very good. It's on Tall Boy Records. Shout out to Anna Borg.
Yep.
Glad she's still doing it. Well, anyway, Dennis is going to have a track on the IPO CD, which is not on this record, but it's an ode to another an iconic power pop artist. I won't say who it is. It's a little bit of a play on his name, so it's kind of a funny title, and the song is a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. But in the meantime, any power pop fan out there, any fan of great melodies, you need to pick up this Dennis Shockett album for sure. Okay, let's see what else we've got. One of our semi-regular listeners, Robin Shell, has put out a record. What's going on, Mark? I'm losing you here.
What's that? No, I'm just checking. Somebody's texting me on a different line. I gotta see what's going on.
All right.
You never know. You never know.
No, you don't. You certainly
They could be
don't.
saying, "Can I join you live?" Yes, you can, Susanna Hoffs. Come on in.
Yeah, well, not yet, but who knows? Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, Robin Shell, who's one of our semi-regulars, is also a musician, and she released this album on Cool Cat Music called The Macchiato.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big coffee person, but I've been told they taste really good. So Robin is definitely a prog person through and through. Prog pop, that is. Definitely reminds me of a lot of those early 70s bands, but more in a bit more of a solo feel. It's just a really solid prog pop album. I like it a lot. And the track that I told him that I liked the best was one called 11, and it's on this CD. And fortunately, he's going to let us have that one for the IPO CD. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's so catchy. It should have been a hit in the early 70s. Naturally, that didn't happen. It should be a hit now, but you know what's going on radio. Yeah. They don't want any good music, so that's not going to happen. But in the meantime, you can pick this one up. Again, anybody who's a prog pop fan, very melodic, hook-filled. This album's going to be cool. The Macchiato by Robin Shell. Check it out.
Can I piggyback on a question right there when you said, it's going to happen. It's not going to be a hit. And we kind of understand that. But when do you think that hope really disappeared for an indie band to somehow break through with a hit? Because as you said, right now, it just seems like almost an impossibility for like a truly indie artist on a very small whatever or their own self-produced thing to not only have a hit record, but to get into a movie or a TV show, a soundtrack or something, very, very difficult. At what point do you think that dream really
That is
kind
a
of
great question.
died?
And I
Mhm.
hadn't really thought about it, but I guess without delving into it really deeply, I mean, I would say, they said video killed the radio star. Well, in the internet killed pretty much killed the indie star.
Mhm.
Uh, when the internet started taking over and major labels started falling by the wayside, and not only the majors, but the labels that they distributed. Oh God, I know who that is. Don't say that. Ryan's album is good, but I'm not going to talk about that one today. Anyway, yeah, maybe his hope. He was posting a lot on Facebook, being, in my opinion, a bit overly dramatic about what was going on with the delayed release of his album. You know, and maybe a bit delusional also, talking about like my chance for chart success is over. Buddy, you never had it. And that's no disrespect, and it's no disparagement of your music. Your music's great, but the climate now is just, as you alluded to, is just not going to allow for somebody like him to break through.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, and other than the very, very, very odd case, uh,
Yeah.
and I think if he does indeed become that odd case, it will have, whether when his album was released or not released, will have not had any bearing on that. It's
Mhm.
going to be because one of his songs gets to the right person and they decide to put it in a soundtrack.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
anyway, when the internet forced the demise of all these labels, like a label like DreamWorks, for example, which was distributed by Geffen. When that happened, I think the dream of indie artists died, with respect to having a huge hit. Now, I mean, maybe not died. I mean, Stacy's Mom kind of came out of nowhere in the early 2000s, but the internet hadn't entirely taken hold at that point.
Yeah.
Um, I think what's happened is the labels who are left are being very judicious, and they're only signing acts who will guarantee them several million sales.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
aren't the tiers that there used to be with major label distributed, big indie, smaller indie. There isn't that. There's either a major label, or even the biggest indies like Wicked Cool are miles below that. And when I say below
Yeah.
that, I just
Yeah.
mean in stature, not in value.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so I mean, no matter how good a band is, they're just not going to get signed by a major label anymore, and therefore the chances of having a hit are virtually negligible. It's all about it. I mean, everyone was talking about the payola scandals in the 50s and the 60s, and how you still had to pay programmers to get your record played. It's nothing like now. Everything is based upon big, big, big bucks. You're not
Yeah.
going to have a case like Hanky Panky being played by some Pittsburgh DJ a few years after the fact, having people call in and say, "Keep playing that," and
Right. It's not going to
suddenly
be like the movie The Wonders. It's
it's not
it's
going to
it's
be like that.
it's not going to happen.
No, that kind of stuff just not happening anymore.
And
Um,
truly, when I talk to artists and things that I think that put out wonderful music, and I'm so glad that they continue to do that because it's got to come out. But they sink a lot of time and effort and everything into it and put it out there, and if they sell 5,000, 7,000, that's like huge for them. But a lot of that hope really kind of falls back on, can you get it into a TV show
it's
or something?
exactly that. You have to
Can you
get
get it
lucky
into
to
a
get into a
movie,
soundtrack.
even an indie, even the kind of an indie movie like Night Clubbing? Deadbeat Poets landed in that, and now that's picked up by Netflix, and it's actually it does well for the publishing money, for Frank
No, it's
of the
great, but
guys that are on
of
there.
course
So,
they're
but
not. They don't have a hit, and they're not a
no,
household name.
no, not at all.
You
Yeah.
know, back in the day before the internet took over, I mean, someone like Elliott Smith could get pretty much the whole Goodwill Hunting soundtrack,
Yeah.
and that really made him. I wouldn't say he was a household name, but in indie pop households, he certainly was,
Right.
and that was about as good as it was going to get, even back then. Now you're not even going to get that. You might get one song on a soundtrack, and you're going to hear like maybe 20 seconds of it, if that, buried way deep in the background. But it could open some doors, no doubt about it. That it could, but it's not gonna bring about a Billboard chart hit. It's just not. I mean, not anything substantial anyway.
We
I
should we
think
should do
anyone
we
who's
should
doing music right now needs to do it for the love of it, really, only for the love of it, and that's great.
we
What do
should
you-
take an episode in the future where we check the Billboard like top 30 right now and see how many of those acts we actually even heard of.
It'll probably be about 3 for me. I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
if Taylor Swift has something on there, I'll have heard of her.
Yeah, but or how many of the top 30 can you actually hum the melody?
0. Absolutely 0. And that's been the case. And it's not like I don't occasionally check these things out to see if, you know, most of these songs are written by the same people.
Right.
And
Yeah.
things like chord changes are not only not at a premium, they're, they're absolutely, they're verboten now. I mean, everyone wants to keep things on a very even chord level, very little variation. That's what they feel today's kids like. Today's kids are probably just fine with it. They'll, I don't know, whatever. This is a really, this is certainly a dearth for sure. No, it doesn't, and that's kind of that's what they want. Any more cool new releases? Well, yes, actually there are. Let's go back to that. But yeah, the answer to your question is I think it was around the turn of the millennium where things started to go sour, and now there's virtually zero chance for any melodically oriented artist to have a hit. The best they can hope for is having something on a soundtrack. A more realistic thing would be to have something on an indie chart, like a Wicked Cool chart, or, I mean, that's not going to make you any money. It certainly will give you a sense of pride, as it should.
Sure.
But you're not going to make a career out. I mean, even the indie bands who are going out on tour are sweating it. Like, they're not making real money. I mean, most of them are young and don't mind if they're not making a lot of money, because they don't have responsibilities that some of the older ones have, which is another reason why or not majors, but any labels want young acts. That's why a band like the Lemon Twigs, for example, is doing very well. And I mean, they're the brothers Daddario are certainly talented kids, and now they're in their late 20s. But if they were even 10 years older, they wouldn't have even gotten where they were with the exact same music. It just wouldn't have happened. So everybody wants young acts that'll do what they tell them. That's always been the case, but now it's even at a lower level that's happening. Their new album is really, really good, by the way.
Yeah, I just got the purple vinyl, the limited vinyl.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I got that in the mail. It's a great album.
It's their best album so far.
I really enjoy it.
And I wish them well. They're nice kids. I've known their dad, Ronnie, for a long time, actually. He had a band in the early 90s called the Rock Club. And I'm trying to remember where I read about them. It may have been in Yellow Pills. So Jordan Oakes, if you're watching, let me know if you reviewed that CD at the time. But I remember talking to Ronnie on the phone, and kids weren't even born yet. And you remember him sending me the CD and me calling him and telling him how much I loved it. And he did play IPO New York. He was doing a little bit of a comeback thing, and he played IPO New York about 8 years ago. And his kids the two kids were backing him. They weren't lemon twigs yet. So they kind of remember IPO, which is nice. And, who knows? Maybe one day they'll play it. I think it's all kind of out of their hands anyway.
Yeah.
They've got management and labels and, that's okay. That's
not
cool.
their decision. Yeah.
But anyway, so let's get back to some stuff that I will talk about. The On and Ons. I don't know if you know this band. They're from Australia. They've had a few albums and EPs. They have a new album called Let Ya Hair Down. Lemon Springs. Ha, John Borak, I'm sure. Anyway, this is a really cool 3-piece band. Clyde Bramley is the main guy. He and I keep in touch on Facebook a lot. This is really good Australian power pop. And I say Australian because, the accents are certainly there.
Mm-hmm.
It's on Citadel, which is the same label DM3 were on.
Okay.
And there's a lot of DM3 influence on here. So, I would say a DM3 fan should definitely check this out. They're going to have a track on the IPO CD as well. It's not one of the tracks on the album. It's one from their last EP that they feel didn't get enough exposure. So, and it's great. So I'm really glad. And so, Clyde, thank you very much. This band called the Circlons, who are mostly from LA, but it's actually just Circlons, not the. When Only the Music is Pretty. This is a 4-song EP, but it's a really cool band. Kel is the main guy. He's been he was in Narrow Adventure with the Wednesday Week Girls. He's been in Danny and the Doorknobs, who had a track on the IPO CD, and a few other bands throughout the course of LA pop history. And this is a really cool pop CD. It's just very strong melodically and a bit angular. It definitely has an 80s feel.
Mm-hmm.
The first track on it, I Want to Be on Your Radio, Not in Your Arms. I love that title. That's going to be on the IPO CD this year, and I'm really looking forward to that. So we got those. Here's some other things that are not IPO CD related. This new reissue by the Yellow Balloon.
Oh, wow.
So every soft Sunshine Pop fan should own this album. It's a late 60s album. The song Yellow Balloon, the title song, was a very, very big hit in the LA area and was a top 30 charter on Billboard. The whole album is just filled with bright Sunshine Pop. And one of the members of this band goes under the name Luke R.U. YOO. Do you know who that is?
No, who is it?
You can see his picture right here.
It's hard to
Take
tell.
a look closely. He was a member. He was in the cast of a very, very popular late 60s, early 70s sitcom. But he didn't quite look like this. He didn't have the blonde hair. It's Don Grady.
Oh,
AKA
is it?
Robbie from My Three Sons.
My Three Sons, yeah.
And he ended up putting out a solo album a few years later under his real name, Don Agrati. Yeah, there you go. Gary Zeekley was a genius. Yeah.
Is that on yellow vinyl?
Of this album. This is on yellow vinyl. It's
gotta be. Yeah, I was gonna say it's gotta be on yellow vinyl.
If you're gonna reissue the Yellow Balloon album, you gotta make it yellow vinyl. So let's take a look at this here.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, there
that
you go. Yeah.
Beautiful. It's actually a little bit more like sunburst orange, but a creamsicle orange even.
Yeah.
But they call it yellow. So anyway, it looks good. And this one has bonus tracks, which you don't often see on an LP reissue. And they stick them on both sides, actually. The Children of St. Monica is a Don Grady solo track, which is released under his name. Also on the same label, Canterbury. And New Lab Woolly is one of the bonus tracks, which is Yellow Balloon backwards.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the track played backwards. It's stereo.
Nice.
The reissue is stereo. Let's see some contemporary stuff.
That's pretty cool.
Jana Borg fan club. Do you know Jana Borg?
Oh yeah,
Swedish act. He was a member of the early '80s Swedish power pop band called the Moderns, who had a reissue a few years ago. he'll be playing IPO Liverpool for sure, and Copenhagen maybe. So we'll see. He's been at IPO a few times, playing with his band, and yeah, just some really cool power. Oh, looks like co-produced by Tomas Nilsson from ANC4 and the Mop Tops.
Nice.
And yeah, from Falköping, I think it's pronounced. I never quite get that right. It's certainly not spelled the way it sounds. But yeah, this is a really cool, I think it's LP only, but again, really solid power pop album that people should check out.
Now, do these LP with the digital download as well? So you can.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Let me see if there's a digital download on here.
Maybe not. Yeah, because
I don't think there is. I wish more. Again, most artists don't do that. I wish they would do more of it.
Well, like the Lemon Twigs new LP. When I bought it, they send you a link to the digital download, so you can at least carry it around your MP3, whatever.
I think it's really cool that bands do that. They should give you a link to download the album. Yeah. You can make a CDR of it too, which I like to do because I'm still old school. I still have a CD player in my car.
Right.
And in fact, I don't have Bluetooth in this car, so that's my only choice. Really nice reissue here of the classic Blue power pop album by Blue called Redhead. I'm not sure if it ever came out on vinyl. I don't think it had. This is a Sony release. I just got it. Let me open it. I believe it's red vinyl, of course, in accordance with the title Redhead. Yes, indeed it is.
Yeah.
See, some of these sleeves, the record just sticks to them like
static.
But here we go. Nice. Very nice. Yeah, I mean, a really cool, well done pop album that fans of Jellyfish and David Muir and people like that really love. Blue played IPO San Francisco one year. Very, very talented guy. Mm-hmm. Definitely, if you're a vinyl person and you wanted this album on vinyl for a while, well, now you can get it. I believe you have to get it straight from them. I ordered it straight from their website. There you go. That was good, actually.
That's a good question.
They really should do a blue version of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Somebody must have thought of that, but maybe not. A band from my ancestral home of Israel, Men of North Country, who did play IPO Tel Aviv. The one year we did it when we had our honeymoon there. Very cool, kind of modish, soulful power pop. Definitely a lot of soul in there. Very danceable. Absolutely cool stuff. I really love this band, and I hope that one day they come back and play IPO again. We may have to go back to Tel Aviv to make it happen, but they are a great band, and this is their first album in a few years. So vinyl only at this point. I mean, I'm sure there's a download you can purchase if you want, but if you want a physical, it's got to be got to be vinyl, and it's great. I believe it's called. I don't think it's self-titled. I thought it was called 3, but I don't see it. Oh yeah, there is a 3. Not anywhere visible on the front cover that I can see, but on the spine. I see. There's the 3 design right there. All right.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. So, as opposed to the Free design, who were a really cool soft pop, jazz pop band of the late 60s. But yeah, check this one out. I ordered it through Amazon. It came a day or two later, so it's very easy to pick up through them, and I'm sure other places as well. So
you're starting to pick up more and more vinyl, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have no choice, but also if it's an album I really like, I try to get both the CD and the vinyl versions.
Right.
Now I just need a new stereo.
I was just going to say, you were talking before, months ago about a new vintage.
I was thinking
record
about it.
player or something.
I might just get new stuff,
Yeah.
but I'm not really solvent enough to get what I want. So
Yeah.
we might have to wait for a few months, but I'd say before the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, actually tonight, if someone asks you a question, I'm going to be opening a box which has a card in it. It's a single card. It's called an original back-to-back. It's the card in the front and an autograph on the back. This box is from 2022, and it could be a Babe Ruth, it could be a Ty Cobb, or it could be a Hershberger. We
Well,
don't know.
since this watcher is very clearly anxious to have you open it, why don't we just get to that right now?
We can do that, and then in a later bonus episode, I've got another box of the Gilded Age and a box called Famous Americans. I might do that as a bonus thing just for fun for anybody that wants to watch, because people got a kick out of it last time. But let me pull this thing up here while we're there. That's the box. We can go like this. Hold on a second. And it's if you saw the episode a couple weeks ago with Kevin Hefner, he owns the Historic Autograph Company. This is called Originals Back to Back, and the bottom says what? Contains one HA Originals Back to Back card autograph combo. And if you look in the back of the box, it's sealed with their seal. But it does say it could have Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ty Cobb, Jackie Robinson, all these stars, and it could be anything. So
wait, is there just the one card in there, or are there several?
It's just one. It's just the one.
Okay.
It's the graded PSA, and you don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be an old card, and it's going to be an old autograph.
And it's actually graded. It's already graded.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's going to come in a PSA holder. Wow.
I believe so. It is just the one, and these are hard to find anymore. These boxes, because it's a year ago. And what was it? Oh, someone said, what was the price? This box, I believe, was $80.
Wow.
But if you pull a Babe Ruth, a Ty Cobb, I got the card and the autograph are worth a whole lot more. I had to do it once just for fun, and
wow.
And I take one for
good luck.
Material issues. So here we go. We're going to open this up. I know.
And not a Joe Slobotnik.
I know, but it's fun anyway.
Oh, no, it's totally fun.
One seal broken. How do I break this one without breaking or cutting my finger and ending up in the hospital again? There we go. Second seal broken. All right, here we go. Historic autographs, originals, back to back. Try to get it centered here so we can all see. And it's Ralph Kidney. I have no idea who that is.
Ooh.
Hold on. I have no idea. Hold on. Henny Youngman?
Oh.
No, I don't know who it is. Hold on. I don't know who this is. I can't really read the autograph. We'll turn it over and we'll see.
You want to turn it over? It looks like it's Tony something.
Tony Lupien.
Oh, Tony Lupien. Yes, he was
Ulysses Tony Lupien.
Yeah, he played in the late 30s, early 40s. I'm trying to remember for which teams, but he was a pretty solid player.
Look at that. That's what we got. Ulysses Tony Lupien on his original card, which is in there. And then the autograph on the back. 1949 Bowman. This is actually a low number. This is number 3 out of 5.
Wow. And I don't know. I guess that's right in the middle if there are only 5. But
there were some autographs in this set that there were 30 or 40 cards and autographs of.
All right. Well, the fact that there are only 5 should make it more valuable right there. But that card was obviously done near the end of his career because he mostly played earlier. But that's great.
Tony Lupien.
So wait a minute. So the front is the original Bowman.
That's the original card. That's the original card.
So it's the original card, and that's just some border.
Yep, just a border. It says world's most trusted source in collecting Beckett Grading Services.
Oh, it's graded by Beckett, not PS.
Beckett, sorry, yeah, Beckett.
Beckett's a reputable company.
And then on the back, you have the actual autograph. It says Tony Lupien right there. 1949 Bowman, 3 out of 5.
That I don't know. I don't know what it's worth, but it's really beautiful.
It's a cool thing to have. Yeah.
I may
There you
have to
go.
buy one of those boxes.
I'm trying to center it here, but there you go. That's a very cool thing. I love
Yeah, I don't know what condition the card. Did it get a grade or not?
it doesn't say a grade on the card. The card looks really good.
It does look nice.
I don't see creases.
It
The corners are pretty sharp.
it may be something like a 5 or a 6, which
Yeah.
would be a really good grade for a card that old.
Yeah, it doesn't say an actual grade of the card, but the autograph is very strong. Obviously,
Oh, yeah.
they're all cuts from somewhere.
Yep.
But yeah, very cool. I'm very happy with that. I'm just neat to have something like that. There you go.
I remember in Joe DiMaggio's biography, The Hero's Life, which is my favorite biography of any baseball player. Tony Lupien is quoted about alcohol and baseball players and saying that back at the time you could hide your alcoholism because if you just drank, you could drink in your room and who the hell knows about it. That was his quote.
Well, that's pretty
cool.
The
thing. That's the interesting thing. I mean, one of the things that's changed drastically in coverage of baseball is that back in the day, the newspapers were in the team's pocket, and basically they were paid extra and given all kinds of different perks, like being able to travel with the team, stay in first-class hotels, maybe get a few of the players' leftovers, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And in exchange, all they had to do is make sure that they didn't print certain, shall we say, foibles that these players had. And there were a lot of them. But the public never knew because even if a writer knew, they just wouldn't print it. If they did print it, they would be basically ostracized by the team and probably fired by their paper.
A lot of stories come out about the Beatles' first tour in the U.S. too, and the total debauchery going on in the hotel rooms and things, and you never heard anything about that.
Right, you never heard. Although people kind of expect it more out of musicians. That's one of the reasons Jim Bouton's book Ball 4 was such a revelation because people like the stuff about Mickey Mantle getting drunk, after several ball games and showing up drunk to some games, which was compared to some of the other stuff he did was pretty tame, but the other stuff he did you never heard about.
Yeah.
But now, now players are protected a lot better, but you can bet that if they find some married player with a girl, that's coming out.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
But they just don't find it anymore because players are very, very discreet. Oh, yeah. We did have some very cool IPOLA parties early on at the Orchid Suites. They were fun. But if there was any debauchery going on, I did not know about it. And that's actually true. I didn't. Mainly because I didn't go to that many of them. I mean, back in the day, people would travel into LA, both bands and fans, to attend IPO. And those parties were really meant for the people who were at the Orchid, who were staying there. We had a really great deal there, thanks to Bruce Brodine's wife, Ruth Simas Brodine, who was a travel agent. And she worked it out with that hotel to get major discounts on rooms. So a lot of the bands stayed there. Yeah, it became kind of the IPO party hotel, which in that case, partying probably just meant drinking a few beers.
Yeah.
I don't think it meant much more than that. But anyway, I had
good
no
stuff.
idea.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That was a neat box. As I said, I'll maybe do a bonus episode here. I got another box of Gilded Age, and I've got a box called Famous Americans, and
but those boxes have several cards in them, right?
Yeah, like the Gilded Age. I did that bonus episode. There were 20 packs, and then a 21st special pack, which I got the 1 of 2 card, which was kind of cool. And then the historic autographs, which has famous Americans and things. There's actually
there could be athletes in that one.
There could be.
but not.
This has 6 10-card packs, and there are cut signature autograph cards, garment cards, lenticular card. There's a whole bunch of different
very cool
cards you could
Gotta
get.
love the lenticulars. Yeah.
Then you'll see like little movie film strip cards and things like that. So yeah, we'll do this box in a bonus episode. I'll just log on and everybody can check it out on the archives.
Cool.
They're kind of fun. They're neat. I'm having a good
Yeah,
time.
I look forward to that. Want to do a Stump the Bash?
We are going to do a Stump the Bash tonight. I got a good one this evening. So everybody, if you will sing and dance along, we are going to
Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash, Stump the Bash.
It's time for Stump the Bash. When's the last time we actually stumped the bash?
Well, early in the year, I was 0 for 3, and the last few,
yeah.
I think I'm maybe 3 for 6 now.
Well, this one, there are some interesting ones. There are some ones I'm fully expecting a 5, but you never know. But this is going to come from the chart position number 33.
Okay.
33, 32, 33 was my basketball number. If anybody cares or remembers, don't really care or remember. But as always, you're going to pick the year 1965 to 75. We'll start off with clue number 1, which is usually very difficult, next to impossible. So when you get it, we all go, "Holy cow!" But that's worth 5 points all the way down to the 5th question, which is worth 1 point, and you have to get 15 points in selecting of 5 years to not be stumped. That's as easy as it is. Everybody can play along, but remember, don't put in the comments what you think it is, because David can see the comments and he doesn't need the help. He's too good at this.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say you know it, that's fine, but don't say what it is.
Yeah, and if he doesn't know it after 5 questions, we can put it out there to the crowd and say, "What do you think?" So, David, what's going to be year number 1?
We'll start with 1968 this year.
1968.
Yeah.
Let's get 33. Back there. All right. 1968, chart position number 33. This track was written by Elliot Chiprout and originally recorded in 1967 and became this group's most successful chart hit.
I don't know who Elliot Chiprout is. Let's see.
Originally released in 1967.
All right, so it was released by this artist.
Yeah, this artist.
But it didn't chart until 68.
Didn't chart until 68 and became this group's most successful chart hit.
I don't know. Expressway to Your Heart by the Soul Survivors. That's just
it's a good guess, though. Good guess for
not
first
right.
5-pointer. This one is probably going to give it to you for 4 points. I have all faith in you. This is clue number 2. This was released on the Buddha label in December of 1967, backed with Reflections from the Looking Glass.
Oh.
Buddha?
Well, right. Is it Green Tambourine by the Lemon Pipers?
It is not.
All right.
It's not. We're down to question number 3 for 3 points. There's still no sweating it here. This song was based on a children's game, and it reached number 4 on the U.S. charts.
I would have to guess then Simon Says by the 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
That is correct. The 1910 Fruit Gum Company.
And you'll never be out.
3 points.
Were you a good Simon Says player?
No. I think I refused.
Wasn't either.
I just said, no, I'm not going to do this. So I never did it. But I remember that when we had, I forget his name all of a sudden, from the 1910 Fruit Gum Company. I'm blanking. Who we had on the show. Lost.
Yeah, why am I forgetting too?
I'm losing it. But he talked about what he thought was their best track ever was Reflections from the
Oh, that's
Looking Glass.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought maybe you would remember that.
No, I
yeah.
didn't. I'm old.
I
Okay.
know. All right, 3 points. You're fine. You're in the average.
I'm in the average.
Where are we going to go?
Let's go with 1974.
He's gonna jump forward.
Yeah, I tend to alternate 60s and 70s.
All right. 1974, chart position number 33 overall for that year. This was a folk song, and it was the title selection from this artist's 11th studio album.
Oh, title selection, huh?
Yeah.
Well, now I'm trying to remember because I think I know. I might know who the artist is, but just trying to remember if this was a. This may not have been this artist's 11th album. That seems so. Probably I'm not thinking of the right person.
This is a tough one.
Oh, I think I'm going to try a different artist because the first one I don't think had 11 albums, but this one definitely would have. I don't know if I would call it a folk song exactly, but it certainly could be, and this artist was certainly famous for those. I'll just go with "Sundown" by Gordon Lightfoot.
No, it is not. But I have to say, when I was looking at the information on the song, when it came right out and said a folk song, I was a little surprised that they kind of described it that way. But
okay, so
you know what I mean?
Kind of like "Sundown," which really isn't a folk song. Although it could be, but it certainly could be. Yeah.
All right, clue number 2 for 4 points. And this is just kind of a listen to the clue specifically. This became this artist's third solo U.S. number 1 on March 22nd, 1974.
Well,
third solo
again,
U.S. number 1.
Again, I don't think this. I'm kind of stuck with this other artist, but I don't think this was his 11th album. But this guy would have probably had 3 number 1s by now. But I'm just trying to remember.
I got to say this is a tough one.
I don't know if this is a title song though, but I'm trying to.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with, I don't have a lot of confidence in this, but Annie's Song by John Denver?
No. Good guess, though. All right, we're down to clue number 3 for 3 points, staying on the average. This was written and composed by John Robert Durrill, Durrill, and produced by Snuff Garrett.
Certainly heard of him. And Robert Durrill sounds familiar too. In fact, it sounds like something I've even read recently, but now I can't remember. All right, so third number 1, titles track of this artist's 11th album.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's a folk song.
It's a tough one.
Damn, this is a tough one. Yeah,
it is.
There's no label to work with yet, and
yeah.
The Snuff Garrett. I mean,
this is a tough one. There's no shame in struggling here. It's no Lupien, but you know.
No, this wouldn't. I don't think this artist had the song I'm thinking of. I don't think this artist had an album with that title. So I don't think it's Damn, but
Yeah.
I'm not getting. I should know this. In fact, somebody out there probably does. But
Yeah.
it's third number one.
Third solo.
Third solo number one, right?
US number one on March 22nd.
Right.
1974. Yeah.
74. No, this guy couldn't have had. Wait, could he have had? No, he couldn't have had. This couldn't be his third. Ah, damn, I don't know.
Wow. Okay. We're on to clue number 4 for 2 points. Released as a single in February 1974 on the MCA label.
Oh.
B-side, Two People Clinging to a Thread.
MCA, huh?
MCA.
Oh, okay. Well,
why MCA?
Okay. Well, there's 2 possibilities here, but no, it's not the one artist, but it could be Dark Lady by Cher.
I don't know how you pulled that out of your wazoo, but it is Dark Lady by Cher.
Well,
wow.
When you gave me MCA, it led to either. It was either one.
You kept saying this guy.
Well, I was actually thinking Helen Reddy at one point.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't have had whatever she is. Angie Baby was not a title track, and I don't think it was her third number one either, although it might have been.
Yeah,
I don't think it reached
Dark Lady
one.
Was the album.
So Elton John, of course, was another candidate,
but
that wasn't. He didn't have 11 albums by then.
Well, the final clue would have been
amazing that Cher did have that many.
She had a ton, if you think about it.
No, I know, none of which anyone even cared about. But
the final clue would have been the song's title refers to a gypsy fortune teller in New Orleans.
Well, that would have given it to me.
That would have given it to you, but only 2 points on that one. All right,
2 points for me.
That was a tough 2-pointer, but at least you weren't shut out completely.
No.
Where are we headed?
I got to make up some ground here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go with a tough one because that's how I do it.
That's how you
only pick the easy years. So let's go with 1966, which is twice 33.
Which is twice 33. We're going all the way back to
almost all the way back.
1966. Chart position number 33. This group's first U.S. top 10 hit, reaching number 5 in September of 1966.
That's all I get?
That's all you get for right now.
Well, I would assume, maybe incorrectly, that if you say it's for the first U.S. top 10, that it's probably a non-U.S. artist.
That's why I put the emphasis on the group's first U.S. top 10 hit.
I mean, I'm sort of compelled to guess UK, but so wait, this is 66.
1966.
And what else did you say? Read the clue again.
This group's first U.S. top 10 hit, reaching number 5 in September of 1966.
Okay. Well, that's a good question. How well now I got to kind of go through, if it's a UK group, which I could be totally wrong, I got to go through them all. It must be the Beatles. No. Let's see. Well, I mean, so when you say group, it means not duo. It's definitely a group.
Right. I'm going to say it's definitely a group.
All right. So definitely we can rule that out.
Yeah. Because it's a kind of white bread clue. I got to give you a couple little extra things.
And did you say what chart position it reached, or you didn't?
It reached number 5. It peaked at number 5.
I think I know. I think I know, but I could be wrong. I got to think. Could they have had a top 10 U.S. before that? No. And I know this song reached number 5. And I know it came out in 66. So I'm going to guess Bus Stop by the Hollies.
Well, if you would have guessed that, you would have been correct for 5 points. Bus Stop the Hollies. Wow. That's pretty darn impressive, man.
Yeah.
Would you have known it with clue number 2 if I said it was written by UK songwriter Graham Goldman?
Oh, God, that would have given it away immediately. I mean, the one thing about Graham Gouldman, most pop fans know some of the songs he wrote, like For Your Love,
Yeah.
which was earlier.
Yeah.
No Milk Today, and what other ones did he write that were
he
really
was
cool?
He was
Well,
prolific.
tons of really cool songs, but I'm trying to think of. There's an album called The Graham Gouldman Thing, which is, him doing the songs he wrote for other people, and it's really good.
Wow.
When I met him the one time after a 10cc show, I mentioned how much I liked the album, and he said, "Oh, I just had lunch with the engineer on that album, Eddie Kramer." This was 1978. For some reason, I remember that.
I don't know how you did it, but you got 5 points, man, and you brought your average back up. You're at 10 points now with 2 years to go, so you only need to average
left. And now I get to pick a 70s year.
Going to 70s.
Let's pick 1971.
71.
Watch me get 0.
Thank
you for saying it was number 5. That's somehow I knew that.
Somehow you got that, man. That stuck in your head.
I knew that
was
song
great.
Was number 5. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, 1971 chart position number 33 for the year. This was called a gospel pop song composed by Gene McClellan.
Gospel pop, huh?
Gospel pop.
Well, and it's 71. Well, that could be a few things. There's one I'd like to guess, but I know it's a song that actually reached number 13 on the WABC top 100 of 71, but it only reached double digits for the week, for a peak on Billboard. But that doesn't mean it couldn't have finished number 33, because it could have been on for several weeks. I mean, that's one I can think of. Another one I think would have been written by the artist, so I don't think it's that. But it could be a number of things, because in 71 there were a lot of kind of gospel-y pop songs.
Yeah.
Right. And also, it seems like that would be too easy a clue for 5 points. So let me see if it's something else. Let me see if I can think of something else. See, the problem is I have this song stuck in my head now, and I can't.
It's not going to let you go.
Think of anything else that might fit. But yeah, there were tons of them. And I don't think that. So I don't know if I ever knew the songwriter of this. I'll just.
I did not. Yeah.
I'll just go with Jesus Christ Superstar by Murray Head.
No.
Yeah,
it's a good stat, though.
That would be too easy a 5 point clue for that song. I mean, that's as gospel pop as you get.
Yeah.
Again, it could be a lot of things.
And that's going out on the road for a 50th anniversary tour.
Oh, really?
Jesus Christ Superstar, yeah.
So, really? So the tour was started later than the hit.
I guess. I'm just saying it's going out the road now.
73 must have been when the tour started.
Yeah.
It's 50 years. But okay.
Okay, cool. All right, here we go. We're going to go to clue number 2 for 4 points. He's still in good shape if he landed here. This song was originally recorded by Anne Murray for her 3rd studio album, Honey, Wheat, and Laughter.
Okay. Oh. All right. Now I think I know the song, but here's going to be the question. If I know the song right, there were 2 on Billboard. There were 2 versions of this song that were, if it's the one I'm thinking of, that were reasonably big hits. Only one of them was a hit in New York. Well, I shouldn't say. Well, the one that was a hit in New York was by the less famous artist, although even that artist ended up having a really big disco hit later on. But the question is, if I have the song correct, which version is it? Is it the one by someone I mentioned earlier, or is it the one who had the New York hit? Because they were both about equally big nationwide. So I'm gonna, well, which one was, fuck, I don't know, because like I said, in New York, one of them was played, the other one was not. So I think if I don't get this one right, I'll go with the other one for the next clue. I'll listen to it. I'll listen to the clue, but I think it's this song. All right, well, just tell me, because I'm going to guess this song again. Is the song I don't know how to love him?
It is not.
All right. It is not?
It is not.
Then I'm wrong. I was going to guess that by Yvonne Elliman. And I thought, or it could have been the Helen Reddy version, but it's not that.
It is not that. No.
Son of a bitch.
This is, I guess, this could be considered a little difficult.
See, these are good guesses, though.
They are good guesses.
These are certainly gospel pop.
But you're correct. You know, in the early 70s, there were a lot of gospel,
there were a lot of them,
pop type songs. Yeah,
it makes it hard. But God, I mean, and that sounds like something Anne Marie might have.
Yeah,
but she didn't write it. So all right,
clue number 3 for 3 points. You're still in good shape. This artist's debut single and title track to their debut album peaked at number 2 and remained in the top 10 for 7 weeks.
All right, so we're talking about the same song. You're talking about the same song or an earlier single?
No, this song, this track.
This is a song. All right, so
it was their debut single.
All right.
And title track to their debut album.
All right, so it's a group. Okay.
Peaked at number 2 and remained in the top 10 for 7 weeks.
Oh, okay. I know what it is now. I'm pretty sure. Put Your Hand in the Hand by Ocean.
Yes. Good one.
I knew that finished number 2. And yeah, well, that certainly is gospel. I mean, there's so many. One Toke Over the Line, which of course is about pot, but sounds. Did you ever see the Lawrence Welk clip on YouTube?
With One Toke Over the Line?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sung by the couple.
Yeah.
And the guy introducing it clearly knew what the song was about. He had to stifle laughter. You could tell. Larry Welk had no idea, obviously, or they never would have done it. I don't know if the couple knew.
Right, yeah.
They looked like people who would never have smoked pot. But even me, who never smoked pot, would have known if I was as old as they were. When I first heard One Toke Over the Line, I didn't know it was about pot, but I was 12.
Right.
But if I was in my early 20s, I would have known.
That's one of the funny, when you mentioned Lawrence Welk, one of the funniest SNL skits is Will Ferrell when he's doing like a Lawrence Welk thing and he's on that rotating stand and it starts going faster and faster. He's like, I'm going to throw up. It's just, it kills me.
I've not seen that.
It's such a funny clip, and it's just it's got the bubbles, and he's got the wand, and he's just kind of slowly rotating, and all of a sudden the thing gets out of control, and he just starts puking everywhere. Oh, it's great. Lawrence Welk, man. I watched it as a kid.
But you've seen that clip on YouTube.
I've seen the clip. Yeah, it's.
I mean, the intro is everything because I forgot his name. He was one of Welk's band, one of his sub band leaders, I think.
Yeah.
He was just, you could tell he's like, we're putting one over on old Larry here. This is awesome.
I heard some crazy things about Lawrence Welk and how much of a stickler he was for purity and whatnot. And
I'm sure he was. And,
I wish I don't know if there's a biography out there on him, but I'd love to read it.
But Brewer and Shipley certainly, I mean, they really pulled one off there by. I think they duped everyone with the Sweet Jesus line.
Yeah, Sweet Jesus one. Yeah.
So that's another one that could have been another one from 1971 that could have been considered gospel.
Yeah, there's a lot. What year did the Lord's Prayer come out?
74.
Was it 74?
I believe so. Sister Janet Mead. Yeah.
Yes. There was tons back in the early 70s. Huh.
But yeah, 71 was a huge year for that. It was just everything was getting kind of earthy and the post hippie mellow out with some weed movement.
I love it.
In the gospel.
But you got it, man. You're at 13 points now. So
it took me a while. I mean, I'm certainly not ashamed of my first two guesses. They could have been right.
Nope.
But they just didn't happen to be right. All right.
Well, Clue number 4, it was on Kama Sutra.
That
Tear
one
Down the
might not have
Fences.
helped because I'd forgotten what label that was on, actually.
And then the final clue was the band received fan mail for the song from such religious figures as Billy Graham and the Bishop of Toronto.
I don't
Which
know if
wouldn't
that
have given
would
me
have helped.
anything. Wouldn't have given you anything.
I think. What was the clue I got it on? I know the number 2 was a big help.
Debut single and title track to their debut album,
Okay.
peaked at number 2 and remained in the top 10 for 7
The
weeks.
number 2 gave it to me. I knew that song was number 2 and obviously very gospel-y. So.
It was huge. It was huge. I remember that very well. All
All
right.
right,
Well, you need 2 points to not be stumped. So the question is, what year?
A 60s year and really test myself, or do I go for a 70s year and possibly take it easy? Well, I did better in 66 than any year so far.
Yes, you did.
So I picked 67. Is that right?
You got 68, 66, 71.
All right, well, let's go
74.
on the other side of 1970 and we'll pick 1969.
1960.
Hope I get 2 points.
No. We'll see.
Yeah,
Here we go. All right. Chart position number 33. David needs 2 points in order not to be stumped. And here we go. Clue number 1. A song taken from the 1967 rock musical Hair and released in August 1969 on the Dunhill label.
I believe, well, all right. It could be, no, I don't think the second one is, well, Dunhill is a big help. And I believe I know the song. I believe I know it, but I could be wrong. But let's go with something that could have certainly been a slogan for Viagra. Easy to be hard by Three Dog Night.
And you blew it out of the water. 5 points, a total of 18. Did not get stumped.
I definitely, I climaxed on that one. Yeah,
you climaxed on a Viagra commercial. That was pretty good to get it with that first clue.
Well, I know a lot of the songs that
you knew a lot of the songs from Hair.
Yeah, and once you said it was on Dunhill, I knew it wasn't Hair by the Cowsills.
Yeah.
Which it could have been, but that probably finished better than 33.
Yeah. Well, you did it, man. 5 points. You got 2 5-pointers, 2 3-pointers, and a 2 for a total of 18.
And I have nothing to be ashamed of. Like I didn't forget songs. My wrong clues or my wrong guesses were actually could have been right guesses. They were certainly not.
We're solid.
They weren't wild stabs. They made sense.
Yeah, no, that was quite well.
I mean, I've done better. I've certainly done better score wise, but this one I kind of feel like, I did about as well as I could do.
Yes, you did. You pulled
given what I was given.
Easy to be hard, man. Well, that was great.
That should be a Viagra. It should have been. Somebody should have had that as a theme for a Viagra commercial. I don't think that's what the song was about.
No, not.
But I bet you the Three Dog Night guys were cracking up over that.
Mm-hmm. And they missed it in the last 20 years. They could have jumped all over that, man. That would have been awesome.
I'm sure they jumped over a lot of things.
Well, I think one of the clues was Chuck Negron, and was in there with one of the clues. That would
really?
That would have given it to you down on clue number 4 or 5. But I talked to Chuck back in the day about, because he was involved in the Klaatu endangered species stuff as well.
Really? Is he still with us? I think he is. No,
I think he is.
I think the only one who's gone is Corey Wells.
I think
and Danny Hutton he actually came to a few early IPO shows because his nephew Casey Fondero, had brought his band up from Florida. So Danny showed up. Thank you, Tim. Danny showed up to that. I said hello. Woohoo! I got that one. Do you mean the easy to be hard or?
It must have been, because he just did. Chuck is still with us. We just heard.
Chuck is still with us. Yeah, we should get him on. Although he'd probably be so bitter Philadelphia Free. Yeah, well,
Yeah,
it could have worked.
yeah.
God,
No,
one of my all-time favorite songs is Philadelphia Freedom. My God, definitely
yeah,
top 30 of all time.
yeah. That's as far as Elton is
Number
concerned.
one with that, number one by Elton. Top 30 all time for me.
I think I really enjoy talking about Elton, and "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" is one of my favorites of his. Of
Great
course,
song.
Benny and the Jets.
Oh yeah, he just kept. I mean, like a lot of the superstars at that time. Yeah, Floyd Sneed did pass.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about his dad. I don't know when his dad Sam passed, but probably a little earlier.
Sam.
Didn't Sam spell it with an A? Yeah.
Yeah, Snead. Yeah.
And then there was Norm Snead. You probably remember him, Mark, because
Norm Snead
was a quarterback for the Eagles in the
Eagles,
60s
yeah,
and early
Eagles.
70s.
Yep. Yeah.
I just remember, all I remember about this one Norm Snead commercial is him saying, "Hi, I'm Norm Snead. Watch this." And it's a clip. It's a clip of him throwing a ball like 60 yards in the air for a touchdown. But I don't remember what the commercial was for. I get the sense it was a public service thing.
Yeah.
Because the video was not the greatest quality. So he's probably telling people, if you don't do drugs, you can do this.
But that's probably about all he could handle, and something like that was, "Hey, watch this."
And I don't know. I think he said other
and
stuff.
That probably took like 32 takes.
It was a PSA, and it probably took 32 takes. Yeah,
it's true. Elton did own the 70s. He really
did. He did. Yeah, no doubt about it. My favorite anti-drug commercial will still be the Henry Winkler one from when before he was. Not only before the Fonz, but before the Lords of Flatbush. He's a drug dealer going to a grade school trying to push his pills on the kids. And he's going, "Yeah, I've got it all. I've got red ones. I got yellow ones. I got uppers. I got downers. I got herb. and the kids are all intrigued. And one of them says, "Hey, my daddy told me that these things are really bad for you. I mean," and Winkler says, "Hey, why do you think they call it dope?" And all the kids just start, "Get out of here!" And it's all New Yorkers. "Get out of here!" And they're all walking away. Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah, I do remember it.
I think it might even be on YouTube, but I didn't know who Henry Winkler was at the time, but I just remember thinking that was really funny.
And the Lords of Flatbush, what a good movie too.
I've never seen. Wait, no, yeah, I've seen bits of it. Who else is in that? Sylvester Stallone. Anyone else who of any
who
note?
else? It was a name.
Not Mickey Rourke or anyone.
No, I don't think so.
I guess easy enough to look up.
I'm trying to think. There was a really funny line when they were talking to some bald guy. I'm trying to remember the line.
Back then, it wasn't cool to be a bald guy.
No, but it was like, I forget it. I can't even make it up. It was hilarious. But yeah, I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
One of my favorite basketball players of the 70s was a bald guy. Maybe the only one of very few, if not the only one. Do you remember Slick Watts?
Oh, Slick Watts, yeah.
On the Supersonics.
Yeah, Supersonics.
He was bald and he always wore a headband.
Yeah, always.
And the guy never shot. He was all about getting assists.
Yeah.
And he was pretty slick. He could do a lot of things with the ball, but even if he was open, he barely shot. He would always find someone else. I thought, I want this guy on my team. Not that he helped the Sonics win anything, because they didn't. But
it's funny. I think I popped these up to you and showed you a long time, not even on the show, but I come into a box of cards, and this is old Famous Feats baseball type things, right? Which are kind of cool. I found a whole stack of those. No, but I did find these basketball cards. There's JoJo White. And there's Bobby Jones, Rudy Tomjanovich. This one's probably worth a little bit of cash. I don't know. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, All-Star.
I'm sure it's not worth nothing.
Bird Averett, Paul Westphal, and Austin Carr.
Wow.
So I found a couple of these interesting cards just buried away. So
here's an interesting and odd factoid. I'm just full of crap. Do you remember? This was a really cool show, which was kind of ahead of its time, and lasted a season and a half. Do you remember the show Buffalo Bill? Did we talk about this?
Buffalo Bill. I don't think so.
It was from, I think, around 83, 84. Dabney Coleman was the star. He played a talk show host, and he was very, very acerbic. He was very acerbic on TV talk show host. He's very acerbic on the air, and in real life, he was just a completely self-centered, just kind of dick, and didn't even know he was a dick. He just didn't really think about it. He was just more concerned with things about him. But
right.
He always had he always had women, and there were some women on the staff he was interested in. One of his on again, off again girlfriends, who was on the staff of the Buffalo Bill show, was Joanna Cassidy, the actress.
Well,
who played she was certainly a sexy lady. She played a character called JoJo White.
Oh, okay.
And it had to be based on the player.
It's funny that you brought that up because Joanna Cassidy graduated from Haddonfield High, right?
Really?
Right, yeah.
Let's get her on the show. She'd probably be cool.
I wonder. I'm gonna write down
Joanna Cassidy and say, "Hey, I went to Haddonfield High also." But
yeah, Haddonfield.
Anyway, the show was also groundbreaking for a couple of other reasons. It had 2 African American co-stars, which you didn't see on a white show very often. One of them was Meshach Taylor, who was on Designing Women, and the other one was, what was his name? Something Robinson, Cliff, maybe, I don't remember. He's been on other things, but they never made a big deal about it. I mean, I don't even know if it was even mentioned about their race. They were just there, which was very cool. The show also featured a very young and upcoming Gina Davis as one of the staff members. But it was a cool show. I mean, if I have the DVDs, I would highly recommend that people check it out.
I'm not familiar.
Way ahead of its time, and I get not very conventional. And I guess for that reason, it just didn't quite catch on. But yeah, Dabney Coleman was marvelous as this character. I don't even know how we got. Oh, the JoJo White thing.
The JoJo White.
I just thought it's like, wow, how their name. Not only is this character named JoJo White, it's a woman.
Yeah. How about The White Shadow? How great was that show?
Oh my God, definitely one of my favorites.
The White Shadow.
And I'm actually Facebook friends with Ken Michelman, who played Goldstein. There you go. I was thinking about possibly asking him to be on if we're still friends.
Yeah, I mean that'd be great. I mean, you work on him, I'll work on Karen Valentine of Room 222.
Actually, are you still working on? I don't know what made me think of her again, but the Black Widow.
Oh yeah,
you spoken with her lately?
Not lately, but as I said, she was facing some physical, life-threatening problems. So hopefully I'll follow back up and see how she's doing. That would be cool. If anybody does, if people whoever doesn't know the Black Widow. When it came to pool, she was quite the female pool player. I guess you call pool.
No, she was billiards.
Billiards is the word I was looking for.
No, she not only was she great, but she used her sexuality.
Yes,
she wasn't the most beautiful woman, although she was attractive. But she was very sexy, and she would wear wear all black. Very slinky, tight in the right places, stuff.
Long black hair, Asian origin.
No, she was. What's her name again? Why am I forgetting? Lee, something Lee. Jeanette was it?
Jeanette Lee. Jeanette Lee. But yeah, in a time when you didn't see females, there was maybe Jan Stevenson in golf that played up her sexuality, but she really played up her sexuality, and she was a fantastic billiards player on top of it all.
I don't know if she was ever ranked number 1, but she was always near the top. I forgot.
But the documentary that I watched on her, she had there was a lot of her rivals that did not like her for the fact that she was playing up her sexuality because they didn't have the package to go along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's usually why you don't like someone who does that, because you can't do it.
Yeah.
A couple of them were pretty attractive.
Somewhere,
but
yeah.
They just weren't.
Yeah.
They didn't have that oomph that that the Black Widow did.
Yeah, I'd love to have her on the show because her career is fascinating. But she was going
even in the documentary, she's talking about the cancer that she has.
Wow.
So hopefully she's. I mean, I have not heard about her passing. I hope she hasn't.
I don't think so. I think it would have been knowledgeable, but I'll follow back up and see.
Yeah,
because
I'll see if I can get Ken Michelman. I mean, he really didn't do much. The only other thing I actually ever saw him in, besides being Goldstein, was a commercial for something where he actually kind of sits on the toilet reading. I don't think. Yeah, I don't know what the commercial was for, but I remember him being on that. That's it. I don't think he really did much. But
anything else?
He had been living not far from me, but he moved to. I think he moved to Sweden actually.
Oh wow!
So I'll see if
But even though that would be fascinating to hear his stories of the time of filming White Shadow and.
Well, there'd be so many things I'd want. I mean, I could ask him. A lot about himself, but of course, a lot about the other characters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be cool. We're always pulling some interesting guests here.
And let's talk about a few of them.
Let's talk about what's coming up, because we've got two that are coming up solid that we know of that are going to be fantastic.
I think so.
Yeah.
Next week we have singer-songwriter, auteur of the great New York hit, but people outside of New York know it as well. The auteur of the great hit, Ariel. Yes, Mr. Dean Friedman.
Yep.
Will be our guest next Wednesday, which is the 17th?
17th, yep.
Yeah. Besides Ariel, he also had a song called Lydia, which is in my top 100 songs of all time. Wow. Beautiful ballad.
Yep.
And a lot of other stuff that's very New York, just very New York oriented. There's one song about him being in a New York deli, and it's I mean, he was a New Yorker through and through. He still lives in upstate New York, I believe. But I think at that time he was living in Manhattan or one of the boroughs. But yeah, he's still out there touring. In fact, as we speak, I'm pretty sure he's in the UK. He's going to be coming back not long before I go there. So it'll be fun to have Dean on, talk about his career, certainly that song, and many others. So we've got Dean Friedman next week.
Nice.
And the following week, and it's certainly about time we had this guest, given the name of our program. Yes, the following week, we're going to have the bass player of the band for whom this show was named. Ted Ansani of Material Issue will be our guest on the 24th. Wow.
Cool.
And it worked out. He came to IPO Chicago opening night. I had a chance to speak with him. And I hadn't even thought about it, and then suddenly it occurred to me, and I said, I co-host a show called Material Issues, obviously named after your band. Would you like to be a guest? And he said, yeah.
Awesome.
He was up for it, and I asked him if he could talk to Mike Zelenko, the drummer of Material Issue, to see if he would be on with him. So we might have both of them, but at the very least, we'll have Ted. Oh, look at that. I did not know that.
I was going to say, is that true? Or am I misreading this somehow to be funny?
Oh, Tony Lupian's grandson?
I don't know. That's interesting. I've heard of John Cena.
Isn't he also an actor? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, isn't he the one that is in a recent commercial that tries to dance down the street with background dancers and he can't even...
Maybe.
He can't dance. That's John Cena, right?
The guy is certainly. I mean, he's really well built. He's muscle man.
Well, there you go. My 3 of 5 card of Tony Lupian.
Hey, maybe John would pay you some good money for that. He certainly got the bucks. He could do it.
Wow, look at that.
John said, "I've been trying to get one of those forever. I'll give you $1,000."
And that's his grandson. I'm looking at the picture. I don't see a resemblance, but okay.
Right.
I'll take your word for it. I think that's awesome.
I never thought, if I'm thinking of the same guy, I've only known him as kind of an actor.
Yeah, I thought he
I
was an
say
actor.
kind of because he's one of those guys that, obviously is going to play the muscle bound guy.
Yeah,
and whatever.
he's
The action. He could be an action hero kind of
he's
guy.
like The Rock. He's like The Rock.
Yeah, kind of like The Rock. Yeah, exactly.
Without being that big.
Not quite that big, no. But look, I wouldn't want to meet him in a dark alley.
No, not at all. Not at all.
So Ted,
or even a brightly lit alley.
in any alley, right? If he was angry, I would not want that. So on the 24th, we'll have Ted Ansani, possibly Mike Solenko with him, and then the week after that, I will be in Liverpool at the Cavern, and we'll do the show live from there. Again, assuming that the internet connection is as good as it was last year, and I'll certainly let you know if that, Mark. I'll let you know if that's the case, and if it's not, maybe you and John can do it without me. But hopefully it is, and we can get some bands on like we did last year and have a really good time. So that's what we've got coming up, and I'm looking forward to Mr. Friedman and Mr. Ansani.
Yeah, it's gonna be
whatever else comes about in the upcoming weeks.
Yep. Well, we keep throwing darts, and you never know who's going to land here on Material Issues.
No,
and
you
the
don't. We've both gotten some great ones.
It's been fantastic. But join us here on Facebook, join the group, or subscribe over on materialissues.com on YouTube. We drop an email on Mondays and Tuesdays. We'll talk about what's coming up on Wednesday, and we love it when you join us here and ask questions and get involved and say funny stuff. It makes the night go great. But great guests coming up in the next 2 weeks. Always looking forward to that. So,
absolutely.
It's good to be.
All right, everyone. We'll let you go. We've been on almost 105 minutes. So
141 minutes.
No, it's 1 hour and 41 minutes.
Oh, so 60, 40, 101,
100 minutes, almost.
Yeah, I can't do math. It's past
That's
me
all
already.
right.
Forget it.
That's okay.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim, and thanks
always,
to everybody,
always good to see you.
Everyone who's tuned in. We hope to see you again next week and every week. And please tell your friends. I mean, there are a lot of people who I know would enjoy this, and I know some people can't watch it live because of work or other obligations. But as we know, they're all archived right after they're done.
Yeah.
In fact, on both the Facebook and YouTube Material Issues pages. So. Hopefully we get people watching, more people tuning in, and we're having fun. So we'll keep doing it until we're not having fun, which maybe never.
It's all good. Another good one, my friend.
Yes,
everybody
absolutely.
have a wonderful night. Stay happy, healthy, grateful, enjoy. And we'll see you next Wednesday here on Material Issues.
You got it. Stay safe, everyone.